Hello. Hello, testing. Good afternoon, everybody. It is almost 2, and I can only see 8 of you. I don't know what the reason could be for the delayed turn up. Nevertheless, I'll start. The rest will get us on the way. What I intend to cover today. Yesterday, we completed editorial publications. That is from single editor, 2 editors, 3 editors, and lastly, yesterday we handled 4 or more editors. And before I proceed, I would like to confirm that you can hear me. And all you need to do is go to the chat and type your registration number. When that is done, then I proceed. Okay. That confirms the audio is fine. The video, I can see it is okay. Today, what I will be covering includes the machine readable catalog. I requested you yesterday to look at that uploaded document in Mwere. but more specifically, what is a MARC record? What is a cataloging record? Then description. Now, the description is what we have been doing as we catalog our documents. We have various areas we handle. For instance, area O, area 1, which is title and statement of responsibility area. So all those elements are what we cover when we talk of the description. And indeed, we prepare the main entry, and that is the main record describing a publication, but we also provide other access points through added entries, so that our users are able to access those publications. Then we also prepare subject headings, and these, so far we have used the Sears list. And when we get to those subject headings, we'll prepare subject added entries. I also slightly look at what the call number is. And then lastly, and which is more important, is to look at the data signposts. When we catalog online, the data that we enter into the computer is represented by signposts. For instance, if you are traveling to Ginger, as you move on, say, for instance, the Northern Bypass, you will get signposts indicating how many kilometers to Ginger, which fast towns you get to. So likewise, when we are describing our publications and we are to use a computer, our data is represented by signposts, though the terminology we use, we shall see later that what we are calling signposts are indeed tags. So this is what I want to go through before moving to KOHA, the Integrated Library Management System. I'll proceed to understand what a MARC record is. What does MARC mean? Or what is a MARC record? MARC in full is machine readable cataloging record. So we are going to learn how to prepare catalog records which can be read by machines, and the machines that we are referring to are mainly the computers. So what is machine readable cataloging record? Machine readable means that one particular type of machine, a computer, can read and interpret the data in the cataloging record. Now, what do we mean by cataloging record? That is the entry or entries that we have been preparing. So in the following slides, we are to learn why these machine readable cataloging records are important. Cataloging records means a bibliographic record, and by bibliographic record, those are the details of who the author is, year of publication, place of publication, all those elements that we use to describe a document constitute what we refer to as a bibliographic record. And those elements would include description of the item, and then main entry and added entries, subject headings. Of course, a number of you still have challenges assigning subject headings using the Sears list. I think we need to give this maybe 2 hours when we meet face to face. Then for the classification or call number, whereas the classification number, you derive it from classifying using either the DDC and the other classification schemes. For us in cataloging, we have what we call a call number, composed of course, the classification number and the book number. So briefly, these are the items we shall include in the cataloging record. But of course, when we start cataloging online, MARC records can contain even addresses. We shall be seeing this in KOHA, though we shall not be capturing such details. Next, I hope Godfrey says my network is breaking, and you are the only person. But I think now we need to also understand that it might not necessarily be my network. If others can see and hear me, then most likely the problem could be, most likely the problem could be your site. Shakira says speed control. I will control the speed and ensure that we don't get accidents along the way. So I proceed. And by the way, when you see too speedy, you alert me. Where I am, I'm in my home office, so I don't have anybody interrupting me. That is why maybe moving like the Ugandan economy. But I'll definitely adjust. No more queries. So the description is what I'll start with. What do we include in the description? We of course follow the Anglo-American cataloging rules, the second edition. It has been revised a number of times, so the 2002 revision might not necessarily be the latest. There is a 2004 revision, and then of course there are other revisions which have been published, and we follow the rules when we are cataloging any library item. This description is shown in the paragraph sections of a card. A card, we are referring to the entry, and it normally has 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph ends where we record the place of printing, name of the printer, and of course, year of printing. That is where the first paragraph ends. Then the other details after that form the second paragraph. The description includes the title, statement of responsibility, edition, and then material specific details. This is area 3, which we have not handled as yet, but that is where we are heading. After we have looked at online cataloging, I'll move to area O, media type, and then media type and form, and then area 1, title and statement of responsibility, then edition area, and then we shall move to area 3. And then publication information. This is where we capture the place of publishing, the name of the publishers, and of course, the year of publication. Physical description, that is the Roman pages, Arabic pages, other physical details, mainly illustrations, and then, of course, the dimension or the size of the item. Series, we have seen a few examples of the series area. Of course, if a book does not have a series, we cannot create one. We just need to get more publications which have a series or series info. Then notes, that is the note area, and lastly, the standard numbers. It is after the standard numbers that we have the tracing area. So those are the elements we include in the description. 2, main entry and the added entries. Each one of us should be familiar with these, that when you get a publication, it is a must that that publication we prepare the main entry or the main description of the item. But because of one reason or the other, we want even those who might not be knowing the author of a publication, they should be able to use, for instance, the title, the subject, or the series to get that item. That is why we prepare added entries. The Anglo-American cataloging rules are as those rules for determining access points. In other words, how do you determine that a given publication, if it is editorial, that it goes under title? So when we decide that the main entry is under title, that is the access point. If it goes under one of the authors, then that is the access point. If we prepare added entries for the other authors, then those are also access points to the record. And normally we refer to that as the main entry and other added entries. Access points are the ones we use to retrieve that publication from the library catalog. And of course, when we compile our entries, we end up creating a library catalog. So when you look at your record book, those entries we have been preparing, we need to arrange them systematically, maybe alphabetically, and then until when we have compiled them together, that is when we create what we refer to as a library catalog. And for us to retrieve any document, it is the access points that we used as the headings of those entries that we shall use to retrieve those particular documents. And then thirdly, the rules are used to answer questions such as, for this book, should there be entries in the catalog for more than one author or more than one title? Of course, the rules tell us if you have, for instance, 3 authors, one of them takes the main entry, but you also prepare added entries for the other 2. And all that, we derive it from the rules. It is unfortunate that we are in the second semester and a number of you have not had the chance to feel or touch the rules, but these rules are available in the EastList library. But for me, what I do, I extract a particular rule and then we apply it. But we shall have to get to see these rules. Then using those rules, should the title of the series be noted? And indeed, if a book has a title of the series, we have been noting, but we get that authority from the rules. How should the author's name be written? We have seen we start with the surname, apply a comma, and then we have to give the other names. Is this a title main entry item where there is no author? Recently, we have dealt with editorial publications, and indeed, those publications, the main entry goes under title. It is not that all of a sudden we started cataloging and we do things the way we feel like. Whatever we do is based on the rules. And those rules, we do not need to cram them because we can't. But as a librarian or a cataloger, you'll be in your library, and in case you need to consult the rules, then you get them and read the particular chapter dealing with the publication you are cataloging. But for books, what we have covered is normally the default. But we have other publications which are complex, like some of your colleagues who are stuck with grey literature, how to catalog grey literature. I know some of you have handled the reports. We have not studied how to catalog reports, and most of those placements they have very many reports. But what we normally do, get hold of the rules, open the chapter dealing with that particular item, and then you are good to go. Now, number 3, the subject headings, from which we derive the subject added entries. What do we use to get these subject headings? The first one is the Sears list of subject headings. We have used this. I was surprised in the last semester exam when I gave the instructions in Mwere. Some of you were asking what the Sears list is. Please, that is the tool that we use to assign subjects to documents. Then, other than the Sears list, we have the Library of Congress subject headings. Those who are currently working in the main library now, you will have met this Library of Congress subject headings. In EastList, why we normally don't learn how to use this particular one, it is because we have one copy. It has 4 volumes, but we only have one copy. So it becomes difficult for us to use it, but as long as we learn how to use the Sears list, then it will not be a problem assigning subjects using the Library of Congress subject headings. I also find out if we can get online versions. I've not searched yet, but we shall try and see. Just like for the DDC, you are able to get the summaries online. Maybe we shall try for the Library of Congress to see if indeed we can get online copies. And then 3, there are others of standard subject headings to select the subjects under which the item will be listed. When you go to research agencies or specialized institutions, they could be having their own lists from where they get the subject headings. I worked with the World Bank, the Kampala office, for some time, and for them, they were not using Sears list or Library of Congress, but they had what they used to call sectors. So a publication is allocated to a particular sector. For instance, development is called a sector. Agriculture is a sector. So you needed to have that list of their key terms for you to assign subject headings. So that is one activity we have been doing, though we need to give it more time such that when we get the Sears list, we don't just assign a subject that you see first. We need to know how to arrive at a particular subject. And then number, still at 3, we need to use the unapproved list such that we are consistent in assigning subjects, meaning that if we are looking for books on surgery, we find them in the same place, and not scattering publications on the same subject, and then you scatter them in different positions. So that is why we need to use a standard approved list, and the Sears list is already there for us, other than the Library of Congress. What happens when we have a book about cats? Should we assign the subject cats? That is what would come in mind, but we need to use unauthorized heading. And when we do that, you'll find that instead of using cats, the authorized heading list as felines. So if even a book is called All About Felines, the subject heading will be cats. So this is an example where cats and felines mean the same thing. This could be a new terminology. So whereas those who are specialized in these animals, the specialists, for them, they would be using this term. For us, it is easier if we use cats, because that is what our users are likely to use when they are searching for that info. But as long as we use the authorized heading, then we are good to go. Now, that way, all books on the subject will be listed in one place in the catalog for the patron to find. So if one person uses cats and then another one uses felines, you will notice that these will be in 2 different places. So we have to stick to one. And in that way, we shall be saving time of the patron and also the staff. The patron does not have to imagine all the possible synonyms for the word they are looking for. So when you come to the library, you do not need to imagine what other words mean when we are looking for cat. Is it felines? Is it pusscat? So we don't want our patrons to imagine all those possible synonyms for cats. So we need to stick at one, and all that we do using the authorized subject headings. Call number, we are familiar with this. Yesterday, the call number of the book we cataloged was 303.48 with the book number INF. So that is the call number. How we derive it, we use the DDC, or there is also Library of Congress classification. There is UDC, which I wonder whether you are using it. We also have the kata tables, all that you'll find in classification. So the librarian uses the DDC and other classification schemes to select the call number for an item. And the purpose of the call number is to place items on the same subject together on the same shelf in the library. If you are looking for books on how to make IEDs, IED is improvised, I think, explosive devices. If someone was looking for such information, they will find it in the same place. So as a librarian, we are supposed to censor some of the information we have in our collections. At this moment in time, if you received a library user and they are looking for information on IEDs, maybe that is when you should call the police, because you know what is happening. But normally, that information will be located on the same shelf in the library. Most items are sub-arranged alphabetically by the author. So the second part of the call number usually represents the author's name, facilitating this sub-arrangement. So for yesterday's publication, it wasn't the author's name that we used because the main entry was under title. But for previous publications, where the main entry was under the author's name, we'll pick the first 3 letters of the author name to get the book number, which we combine with the class number to get the call number. I believe we are okay. And this is where I wanted to go. Data signposts. We have data, but this data is shown or represented by signposts. And this is important because of the online cataloging we'll be performing later. The computer must have assistance if it is to read and interpret the bibliographic record. When you study computing in much detail, for those who have had the chance, I wonder whether this is done in database, where they tell you that the computer, whatever you input, it captures it as binary digits. It is either 0 or 1. That is more or less the signpost we are talking about. So when I want to know if a particular document is available in a catalog, we shall not type author. We shall be using signposts, and that is what the computer will understand. I have a chart in the next slide, which is illustrating these signposts, and we shall look at it, and then things will become clearer. Now, the signposts on my left, when we are preparing the main entry, we normally use the personal name. If the book is written by an author, and we capture the surname. And on this side, the data that we have is the surname Anoski with Jim. So it means Anoski Jim will be the main entry heading, which is a personal name. So it is this surname that takes the entry element. In case we are arranging the catalog alphabetically, so it is letter A we shall use. Then another signpost is for title and statement of responsibility area, where we can pick title for a title added entry. And you can see now the title proper is raccoons and ripe corn. Statement of responsibility, in other words, who wrote the book? It is Jim and Noski. You will notice that now in the statement of responsibility, we start with the other name and then the surname last. Unlike in the main entry edition area, we capture the edition statement, and this is an example, first edition. Some of you are writing the word edition in full in the exam, and then you miss that mark. Publication distribution area. Allow me check the chart. There is no problem in the chart. It means I'm loud and clear. So publication distribution area, for that signpost, we capture the place of publication, name of publisher, and the date. And indeed, for this example, New York is the place of publication. Lothrop, Lee, and Shepherd Books is the publisher, and the date of publication is 1987, which is a copyright year. Physical description, that is where we note the pagination, the illustration, and the size. And indeed, wow, no Roman pages. We have not had such examples, but we have books where there are no Roman pages. So straight away we record the Arabic pages. The illustrations are colored, and the size is 26. So on the left, I've given the signpost and then the data. So this is one form which anybody can clearly understand if you have studied cataloging. That this is the title proper, and then it is here. Statement of responsibility there. However, the computer doesn't understand this. We shall translate this into tags. We shall not be, the computer will not be reading edition. We shall use fields or tags to represent these signposts. So let us look at the next slide. For the same record, we have been using the other side. How would it look with what we call machine-readable cataloging tags? I give the signpost and then the data. So where we add the main entry for a personal name, in our computer language or machine-readable language, 100 represents the author's name. However, it also has subfields. 100, you would know that there is an author's name to come. But we start with the surname and then the other name. 245, that is for title and statement of responsibility. So there is this subfield, and then there's another subfield. One is for the title, one is for the statement of responsibility. So this is subfield A and then subfield B. So maybe this was supposed to be B, not C. I don't see anything missing there for it to go to C. So edition signpost is 250. The publication details, 260, New York, and then you can see A, subfield A is for the place, subfield B is for the publisher, subfield C is for the year. So these are the tags. These are the signposts. they have moved away from the naming, like we would say title and statement of responsibility. Instead, for the computer, we shall be looking for 245 to enter the title and the statement of responsibility. Shakira, how is the speed? I'm pausing to see if everybody is on board. If you are following, please just type the signpost for just type the signpost for the edition. You type the signpost for edition, and then we shall proceed. So you just look at the screen. Daniel, Martha, signpost and tag are the same thing. So by the end of this presentation, what I'm calling signpost is a tag. But you know, these terminologies, we needed to go slowly. And then Daniel is asking, how do we include the bibliographies and references? There is a tag for that. 520 is for the note, so the note area. And for instance, here we have angry raccoons feast at night in a field of ripe corn. This is like a summary of what this book is about. It is in the note area. So 250 is the tag or the signpost for the edition area. So I think, Reuben, now for you give the data. You give first edition. Of course, that is the data, but the signpost or the tag is 250. Others, please don't type. It looks like everybody, including Jamila, knows what the signpost for the edition is. So 260 publication details. And this could be the first time you are seeing this. But when we start cataloging online, you will not find title or name. You will be finding these signposts. So you must know that 100 is where we enter the name. Then you go to that field. 300 is where we put the physical details of the book. Then you type. And then, of course, each of those signposts has subfields. I will jump to that. What is MARC 21? Yeah, I will not sip like your friend. I have not reached that level. Mine is there is a silencer. MARC 21 is machine readable cataloging 21. This is something that has been there for some time, and the computers we are using, others started using them in the 1960s. I wasn't born by then. And it is Library of Congress which devised the Library of Congress MARC format. And this is just a system of using brief numbers, letters. Indeed, we have been seeing those numbers, letters and symbols within the cataloging record itself to mark different types of information. So you can see that this number is brief enough, but it represents the name. 245 is a number, very short, representing the title and statement of responsibility. So that is what they meant by using brief numbers, letters, and symbols within the cataloging record itself to mark different types of information. The original LC MARC format, that is Library of Congress MARC format, is what evolved into MARC 21. So whatever was Library of Congress now is what we use as MARC 21, and it is the standard used by most library computer programs. And that is what we need to understand when we start cataloging online. A comparison of the same record with textual information and with MARC tags. Now remember, we were using the word signpost. Now I've changed it to tags. So what we saw as signposts, indeed, let me go back. These ones, these are tags. So by using signposts, I was trying to bring out that element that it is a sign to show you that there is particular data that we have indicated under this number. So we are moving from using the word signpost, we are going to use tag or tags. And I want to show this to you, and you will notice that the MARC tags will compress the info that we present in our cataloging record. It's a matter of storage space, of course. When that textual information is put in form of tags, it occupies limited space. The MARC 21 format uses, you have started seeing this. This is a tag, and this is a subfield, another subfield, and another one. And all this will mark the field data that holds the imprint data. This is the publication data. Instead of storing the words publication area, we shall just put this 260. Instead of place of publication, it is this one now, this subfield. Name of publisher, it is this subfield B. And date of publication, it is this subfield C. So you can see it is the storage space now we are managing. When I go back where it was presented, the 260, now this is the publication imprint data. You will notice that subfield A is for the place, subfield B is for the publisher, and subfield C is for the year. However, instead of writing publication distribution area, we shall just note the tag 20, rather 260. I move back. You notice that with the whiteboard, I cannot move back and forth. So we should support this online learning. It makes things easier. You can browse back and forth. So this convention makes more efficient use of computer storage space. I believe now when we talk about storage space, each one of you knows, especially those who did the exam. If you took pictures of your script, you saw that the bigger the whatever the file, then you could not upload. So storage space is important. And on your phones, you find yourself deleting even things you want because you are looking for space. So for the catalogers, they came up with the MARC 21 format to ensure that storage space that is needed is minimized. That is why we use these tags. We have terms and their definitions in MARC that we need to look at. So Nakaga, whatever is amusing you, we can't tell until when you share with us. MARC terms and their definitions. We are referring to the chart in the previous section, which showed a MARC record labeled with signposts. Yeah? You remember where we had signposts? And now they are telling us the proper names of these signposts are field, tag, indicator, subfield, subfield code, and content designator. So what we were calling signposts as their proper names, which include the field. For instance, 260 would be a field, but that field is represented with a tag. Then there is an indicator, is subfield, subfield code, and content designator. All these we won't just cram. Eventually, we shall get to know that if I have to record the title and statement of responsibility, that is a field. But that field in MARC, it is represented by a tag. Let's see what we have. These MARC 21 terms are covered in the following slides. So these terminologies, we want to see what is a field, what is a tag, what is an indicator. We shall see them in the slides to follow. Fields are marked by tags. A field, each bibliographic record is divided logically into fields. There is that field of the title and statement of responsibility. There is that field of edition. There is that field of publication details. So that is the logical way of those details. There is a field for the author, a field for the title, and so on. So a field for the author, if your memory is good, type the tag that represents author from what we saw earlier. I'm checking in the chat. Oh, Gloria says she's lost. So Gloria, we are typing a field for the author, not title. Okay. You first type for author. Nakaga, type for author. What is the tag for author? There is no 10. So the tag for the field for the author is 100. But now we have a challenge. Oh, Gloria typed the right one, but she was still saying she's lost. Those smileys, some of them, I don't even know what they mean. Me, I'm still lost. I've not yet understood. I also don't understand what you have not understood. Until when you put it in question form, then I'll be able to respond. Nakaga 245 is the field for title. And I said this is the first time, but eventually these will be at your fingertips. So I can see, hey, Gloria says, I mean the dollar signs. If you have a phone, what is the meaning of the hash when you are using a phone? Whatever that hash does on a phone, it is what the dollar sign is doing in the MARC format. Something more or less similar to that. It is like it is designating that particular subfield to contain whatever it contains. So don't mind about that dollar sign. It is not money. I think I have to go back to where those dollar signs were. Okay, they are here, even here. She's wondering what this is. Yeah? In programming or in computer science, we have what we call wild cards. This could be one of them. If you want to search, when you are creating a search query, we use the Boolean logic. If I want to search for all those starting with maybe their name starting with letter N, I could type NA and stop there and put a star. It means it will bring Nambalirwa, it will means it will bring Nakaga, all those names which start with NA. So those are some of the things, but you find them in programming or in logic when you are creating such queries. But in website design, we shall see some of those things. But let me move to complete this. These fields are subdivided into one or more subfields, and we have seen this. So for the field 260, which is for publication details, we have 3 subfields, one for the place, one for the publisher, and one for the year. As previously noted, the textual names of the fields are too lengthy to be reproduced within each MARC record. Instead, they are represented by 3-digit tags. So instead of repeating what I've just mentioned, and in this slide, instead of saying publication distribution area, we just write 260. Instead of writing place of publication, the moment you see this dollar sign and A, you will know that is the place of publication. Then this is name of publisher, and this is year. The other wordings are lengthy, and in the MARC 21 format, we use 3-digit tags to represent those. I move a tag. Before we even start, we have been using it. So it will not be difficult to comprehend. Joanita Nakaranzi says, I haven't understood anything. I'm lost from the beginning. Yeah. And now I go back to the chat. Who is lost from the beginning, like Joanita Nakarans? If there is anyone lost from the beginning, you type in the chat by just saying, me too, me too. Dun, dun, those are 4. Jamila, Gloria, Martha, Nantambi, Getrida. I have not used the dollar sign. So me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. Sempe, me too, kinda. So everybody is not understanding. And what I'm going to do, please look at my screen. I'm trying to solve the me too's. And I'm just, you assume you're a passenger. I'm just driving, you are seated. You don't know whether I'm going to knock, but as long as you get where you are. These are the common tags. 010 is what we use for the Library of Congress control number. So this one ignore because we are not going to use it. However, 020, that is where we record the standard book number. 100 is for personal name, mainly for the main entry for the author. 245, it is for title information, and this 245 includes the title, other title, and statement of responsibility. So you can see these are the subfields. 250 is for edition. 260 is for publication information. And of course, this also has the subfields. 300, physical description. Roman pages, Arabic pages, illustration, size, that is 300. 440, which we rarely use, is where we give the series statement. 520, this is where we shall be recording the index, glossary, whatever. 650, now this is for subject headings. Whereas in original cataloging, you have been writing entries, added entries for subject. In online cataloging, we shall just be typing that subject somewhere, not writing another entry. 700, it is for a personal name added entry, like the joint authors, the editors, illustrator. So even that one, we shall just be typing. And these are the common tags. But why I'm moving forward is to try to address those who are not picking. And it is because of the $sign, the subfield. And I'm not going through this now because it is here. This is a tag 300. It has a subfield A. And from this subfield A, you can see these are Arabic pages 675p. Then the subfield B, illustrations. But remember, the punctuation is already there before the subfield. Then subfield C is the size or dimension. Its punctuation is there. When I go backwards, remember they were talking about a subfield. Most fields contain several related pieces of data. Each type of data within the field is called a subfield. And each subfield is preceded by a subfield code. Fields 001 have no subfields. For example, the field for book physical description defined by the tag 300 includes a subfield for number of pages, a subfield for illustrations, a subfield for dimension. This one, this tag has those subfields. And then the guide to give us the example. This is the tag. It has that subfield for pagination. It has that subfield for illustration. It has that subfield for dimension or size. And this is subfield code. Subfield codes are lowercase letters, these ones, like that A, that B, and that C. And they say occasionally number. It means in some cases we can have a number, but preceded by a delimiter. This is now, this $sign is the delimiter. Delimiter now, using your phone, go to Google and get a definition of delimiter. I will also do the same. I will stop the share And then I'll go to Mr. Google. Mr. Google. And then perform a search. But I want you to see, because I know not everybody has internet. I want, and I don't know whether I'll be teaching you website by the time you are there. You'll notice what I've done now. I want definition of delimiter. You will notice how I started it, definition of delimiter. Maybe some of you just typed a delimiter. And you will notice that there are 7.7 million results, which I got in 0.82 seconds. But other than wasting time on opening this, there is a good question here, what delimiter means. So I open this. A character that marks the beginning or end of a unit of data. Full stop. That is what the dollar sign is doing. It is a character that is marking the beginning or end of a subfield. I don't need any other definition. Then on this side, the delimiter is a sequence of one or more characters for specifying the boundary between separate independent regions. Same thing. So if I'm stopping the share, I am thinking that now we know what that dollar sign was doing. It was showing us that the subfield starts here, this one, subfield A. Then subfield B is starting there, and subfield C. So I go back to the chart. Wow. Gloria says my network is so scrappy. I'm just getting that word scrappy. I'd never known it. What does scrappy mean? Hey. Kampulira, a character that marks the beginning or end of a unit of data. Yes. And then now has still not understood. Gloria meant scrappy. Network which is scrappy. I don't need to go to Google again. Get reader is okay. I was answering the Me Too's. I hope now the Me Too's have understood where that dollar sign was coming from. I want to proceed. I wanted to address those who are not getting. You remember I was just scrolling through and I reached that point. Read about the following. It is what I requested you to do yesterday, but from your questions, it confirmed maybe you never bothered to read. So I'm asking you again, when you go online, you will easily get this document in detail. I've tried to summarize it in my presentation. So you go and Mugaga says is at least okay. You go and read about the following. And when you do, we will move to what I'm going to show you next. That presentation was a dessert. What I want to cover today is what I'm sharing now. So whatever we were looking at was a dessert. So the reason we, oh, sorry. I went to a different screen. I wanted this new one. I want to start a new presentation. On this screen, we have what is KOHA. KOHA is the library management software that we shall be using for online cataloging. I'm checking the WhatsApp messages because they are coming in. And then someone is asking, sending the Zoom details of the cataloging, please, when they are just above there. Please just go backwards 2 messages, the details are there. Okay, when you look at the screen, when you go online and you search for KOHA, this is the screen you'll get to. This is the first screen you'll get to. And on this screen, you'll see at the bottom there, there is a demo. I don't know why the screenshot never captured what is at the bottom. It captured what I was seeing. But of course, this is the first screen. You just note this address, koha-community.org. Alternatively, you can just capture koha.org, and then you'll get to this screen. The next screen, of course, when you get to that screen, you get to answer what KOHA is. My next slide shows the screen for logging in the actual software we shall be using. So I want you to record that address. The address is intranet by watersolutions.com. When you enter that address, then you'll get to this login screen. Just record or write intranet.bywatersolutions.com. And when you do that online, you'll get to this login screen. And of course, you'll be prompted for a username. The username is by water. And the password is also by water. And then you'll click login. When I move, of course, when you have entered the username and password, you'll get to this screen. So now we are just previewing how the screens look like in the software. So having logged in, you'll get to the screen which shows the various modules. There is one for saturation. There is one where you register the patrons, searching, lists, course reserves, authorities, cataloging, serials, acquisitions, reports, tools, and administration. For me, I'm interested in this module, cataloging. So when we start, we shall open the cataloging module. So my next slide will be when I've clicked here. So I go to that screen. And indeed, it is this one, the cataloging module screen. But it shows that there is a saturation, patrons, and the rest. And when we start cataloging, we can either click on a new record or we can search. This is where we do the Z39 search. You have a book you want to catalog. Other than cataloging it afresh, that is new record, you first search and see if other libraries have already cataloged it. That is where we make a Z39.5 search. So the next screen will be that screen where we search from. So I'm just displaying that for now. So this is how it looks like. And I want to be sure that you people are still around. My fields for entering username is not active. We have not reached there. These screens you are seeing are screenshots. I took pictures of those screens when I went online. So Gloria, we are not yet there, we shall get there. So this is the Z39.5 search screenshot. So in case you know the standard book number of the book, you just enter that there and then you search. In case that book has already been cataloged, the details will appear and then we import. That is one option. The other option is by starting to catalog a new record. And that is the screen I'm going to after this one. So when we start by cataloging a new record, we'll click there. And then it will give us option. Is it a book? Is it an article? But normally it is books. So we shall select a book. And then when we select book, it is the next slide. It will give us now the zero tag. Now you remember why we were looking at those terminologies. So the zero tag, it means you can see this is highlighted blue. The rest are not. So it means we on this tag 0. And there are details there that we are supposed to enter. There are details there that we are supposed to enter. 00, control number, date and time of latest transaction. These ones we shall see what happens. The next tag is tag 1. You see 1, we are there. And this is where we enter the main entry when it is a personal name. There is also main entry when it is a corporate name. And then continuously, I made the screenshots of all those ones. Tag 2. You can see abbreviated title, key title, uniform title, title statement. You see the 245. Tag 3 is for the physical description. Tag 4 is where we record the series. Tag 5, that is where we have notes or the note area. Tag 6 added the entries, personal name, and the rest. Tag 7 added into a personal name, added into a corporate name. Tag 8, series, and lastly tag 9. And that is where now I want to go physically. I stop the share, confirm the questions. Martha Nimsima says she has tried it and it works. Oh, she's already in the system. And speed the control. Okay, now allow me to share my screen again. And this time I'm going to the net. Now I'm sharing. I'm in the net. And I remember I said, you write, was it intranet? Someone who can remind me, was it librarysolutions.com? Or it was by water. Bywater.com. I'm trying to use a direct and it doesn't come. I'm going to use the wronger route. I hope my internet has not disappeared. I'm typing KOHA. And you can see there's KOHA login, and this is where I want to go. Log into KOHA. There it is. If you can see my screen, Gloria had given us the address, intranetbywatersolution.com. Wonderful. And let me do that. I want to type it there. Intranet.bywatersolutions.com. I enter. Error session timed out. So it is here. I wanted that address to appear there. Bywater automatically is there. Password is also there. I log in. And it is the core staff interface. There we are. If you can see my screen, I'm sharing. Type what you see. Type where the cursor is, or where that pointer is, where I've pointed. If you can see my screen, I want you to type where I've pointed, where the hand is. Wonderful. So let us proceed. I've confirmed you can see. Whereas there are many modules here, we shall go to cataloging. But even on this screen, we would have searched the catalog if we were looking for a book. But now we are catalogers, we want to catalog, so we go to cataloging module. I've clicked and I'm waiting. And it has come. So the screenshots I was showing you previously, now that is where we are live. And I want to make a Z39 search. I will click there and maximize that screen. I want to search for a book using the ISBN. And it doesn't matter, even if you don't know the title, the author, publication year, as long as you give the standard book number and you search, you will get the book. And where are we searching? Library of Congress. There are other libraries. Remember, these were ticked by default. But for me, I want to search only in the Library of Congress. A Library of Congress is the library of the US, and that library acquires all publications published in the world. So if it is not in the Library of Congress, then it cannot be in any of these. So I would rather search only that one. So anybody who recalls the book we cataloged, it was editorial publication yesterday. What was the standard book number? 00. Hey, type in the chat. If you recall the ISBN, type in the chat and I pick it from there. The book that we cataloged yesterday. I'm waiting for someone to type. Esther. 0083979 And please notice that I'm not putting the spaces. We don't need them. So for me to search, I'll go at the bottom there and click search. Remember, where am I searching? in the Library of Congress. But I could also have decided to select all and search in all those libraries. That is up to you. Two participants have raised their hands. I wish they just type. So I'm searching. I'm searching to see if that book is available. And I'm waiting, you can see. Connection failed, you searched for this. Try another search. I tried ISBN, connection failed. Now I'm searching using the title. It was information technology. Was it information technology and society? Or it was information technology and information society? What was it? In the chat room, please, the title in full, what was it? It was information technology and society or and information society. I remember as if it was information technology and society. And the other title was a reader. So I'm also putting the other title. And now I search. Hey. Connection failed in that library of VLA. I'm trying another search. And I want to do it on Library of Congress by typing the ISBN. It is already there. I search. Still nothing. And remember, it wasn't authors, they were editors, but I'll just search for Ip Nick, one of the editors. And because those Nick Ips might be many, I'm also putting again the title, Information Technology. I search. Connection failed to blah, 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 Yale. I'm not getting anything. I will abandon. Oh, maybe that is the reason why. You are not stop sharing. I share screen. Maybe that is why it was not working. Now I hope now you can see my screen. I'm trying again using only the ISBN. I search. I have to confirm if my network is still on. And indeed it is on. I want to demonstrate the Z39 search. I'm typing another book we cataloged earlier. Classification made simple. And assuming I know only the title, so I click search and wait. And finally we succeed. So for the classification made simple, you can see there is one in the Library of Congress, but it is the second edition. There is another one in Library of Congress published in 2000, third edition. Now, I believe you have your record books. Confirm the edition of the book we cataloged, and then it will be that particular one that we shall capture. Anybody who I'm first of all reading what is in the question and answer before I proceed. The anonymous attendee, now we have KOHA with us doing the cataloging easy. Is it a must we have to manual catalog books as we are going now? So when are we starting to use KOHA and we chill this manual cataloging, which is not easy for us? If you don't know how to catalog manually, then you will not know how to catalog online. And then Melinda was saying things are not working, your screen is not moving. I think now that one is also sorted. So I'm checking in the chat and people have confirmed it was third edition. Now, if it was third edition, and indeed it is what I want to catalog, I'll go to this point and then click. You see, I've highlighted it. And then now I will import. In other words, I'm copying. And that is where the name copy cataloging comes from. So when I click import, screen sharing has stopped as the shared window is closed. I go back. I hope I'm picking the right one. There it is. It means that the details I've imported have automatically filled the 1, 2, 3 up to the end. But not normally that those details are right. This first field, it is required, but we don't fill it by ourselves. You just click there, it will automatically fill. Even the control number, even this one, when I click by water comes, data and the time, it is there automatically. And even the time, you see 2021, October 28th, it is the 5:27, 26 seconds. This is when now this information was imported. So on this field 0, most of these are automatically generated. So you don't need to worry whatever you fill in here. However, there is something that you must fill in or confirm. Assuming we had not imported, we would fill in the ISBN, but now automatically it is there. You need to confirm with the one in your record book whether it is indeed this one, and you can see they have put the qualification PBK. The rest of these tags are redundant. They are not applicable for us. We just consider tag 020. And if that is okay, you click on tag 1 up here. I'm clicking. And when I click, it will show that the main entry is under Anta Eric J. And it is tag 100 that we use for personal names of authors. If it was a corporate name, we would use 110. If it was a meeting name like Chogam, we would use 111. So this one is automatically filled. Tag 2, you'll notice that under tag 2, which they are calling section 2, our interest is in tag 245. The title classification made simple is automatically there. And now, Dennis, you must know the punctuations. The disadvantage with the KOHA is that it doesn't put the punctuations automatically. This one is there because I just imported the data. We have to know which punctuation to use and where. Now, having put the colon there, you will notice that the A In the remainder of the title, this is other title. They use the small a, so I have to edit that and put a capital. Statement of responsibility. You'll notice that the space / is already there. So Eric J. Anta is also fine. And edition statement. It is third edition. But you will notice that from Anta to where this one is, the space dash is missing. So I need to type it there myself. And I'm using the one which is small. But you see it is very tiny. Maybe I type twice such that it looks bigger. So that is the advantage of knowing original cataloging. If there is a question, you ask. If there is no question and you are online, like you went and also searched for the same, just check what is under 3. And this is where we record the physical description, Roman, Arabic pages, illustration, then the centimeters. And then when you go down, the rest are not relevant. Under 4, series. That book did not have a series. So there is nothing. 5, yeah, there is a note. Previous edition was in 2002. And then we have the book has bibliographical references and index. Someone was asking where you put them. Now you have seen bibliography, etc. note. And then it was 520. If the book has a summary, you want to, normally this summary works on films if you want to give a summary of the film. Target audience, all those are not relevant. Check 6, check 7, check 8. And maybe 6 is more important because you will be giving subject added entries. And the subject added entry which we need for us will be the one which is topical. Subject added entry, topical term, and this is classification. Then it can also have a subdivision. So instead of putting dash books, they give you a field where you put the subdivision of the topical subject. And let us consider today as the beginning of our KOHA. If I'd gone through all these and I see that indeed everything is okay, source of classification, DDC, the KOHA default item type, some of these fields when they are required and you don't fill them, it will not save. So what were we cataloging? It is a book. So you see, it is a required field, so I had to fill it. Classification part, I'm leaving all the rest. It has even generated a barcode automatically. And it is after all that has been edited, confirm that it is correct. That is when I'll go here to save. When I click save, I hope my internet is still on. It will still demand for more. But however, take note that this record I've just cataloged, it is record 119,170 in the catalog where we are inputting it. And when I also fill this screen withdrawn status, this book has not been withdrawn, so lost status, it is not lost. Yeah, assuming any of these is applicable, assuming it was lost and paid for, then I'll click that. Source of classification, maybe you use the DDC. If it was some other classification, then you will select Library of Congress. But let's maintain DDC. many other fields to fill. Not for home library. Now, which library are you putting this? Normally, you would customize this catalog, assuming there was history somewhere. That is where you would put it. But in absence of any, let us assume that it was put. Does it allow me to type? Yes. I'm putting it in history, which doesn't exist. So it means someone has to add history there. But let me put it in Hyderabad, whatever catalog that is. And after filling all the rest, then you'll say add item. If it was a duplicate and this item was already in the catalog, then we'll add and duplicate. But let us just add the item. And it says form not submitted because of the following problems. There are mandatory fields which are empty and they have been highlighted. You want to save? I'll just say okay. But you see, barcode was supposed to be there. When I click, automatically it is generated. So in fact, this is what was required. So I add the item. And now our item has been added to the catalog, such that when we search for it, we shall find it in that particular catalog. However, you can see the details here of that item. And in the home library is Hyderabad. But now there are various formats. Let us see how the MARC format looks like. To display that information in MARC, I click there, and indeed the details of the book are there in that disorganized order, but we can pick. Date and time of latest transaction is there. So these are the ones under O. When we go to tag 1, it will show you the personal name. Tag 2, the details are there. Tag 3, I think I need to stop here for today. I will first stop the share, go to the chart, and see if the first time we are looking at KOHA, if things are working for us. It is the 3rd edition. Someone was asking, okay, oh, there was a conversation in the chat when I was shouting. So far, I have introduced you to KOHA, and I believe you now have the address. I'll just share my screen and type that address such that people know where to go to try to log into KOHA. I'm just adding, I want to add a new slide, which has the address, which was intranet, and it was by water solutions.com. So this is the address you'll go to for you to be able to access, and then the login name or login name is by water, and the password is also by water. There is no capital. So the user ID or login name is by water, and also the password for you to log in when you go to this address is by water. So please try to go there by yourselves and see if indeed we can try out to catalog by copy cataloging, importing. And the next lecture, we shall catalog using a new record. PEM, we have just begun. It is just that I'm, I think, a bit exhausted. Don't feel me taking my coffee. It is because I'm exhausted. We shall start from the very point when we meet tomorrow. In case you have questions, type the question in the chat and then I respond. We needed more examples. We are going to have more examples. The next lecture, which is next week, on Wednesday, we shall catalog like 5 books, 2 books. We shall import, and the books that we shall use are the books we cataloged physically, because those details, each one of you has them in their record book. So when we meet next time, please, you must be having your record book, and we use and we use those details. Gloria, this is water, it is not coffee. So I wish that attention was also on what I was demonstrating. Then it would be very far. And then 3 books, we shall do the new record route. And then I'm only asking for this session video via YouTube channel. I tried to upload yesterday's video on the YouTube channel, and then it could not upload because of the file format. The file format is MPU, and I've not taken time to convert it to what I can upload on YouTube. So what I've done and what I'm going to do now, it is going to download on my PC, and then I'll upload it in Mwere, just like the one for yesterday. It is already in Mwere. So for those, and I hope everybody, it is good for you to access that video. And I've also not shared it on WhatsApp because of the file format. I'm not knowing how to do it yet. Things are not working as you are saying. I think I answered that, Mulindwa. And there are no more questions. I see 39 people. Please, I know there is a challenge of data. So if you can't attend, you immediately go to Mere, you'll find the video. Any more questions? If there are no questions, thanks for attending. I'm working from my home office. I hope you enjoyed KOHA. We shall begin from there next week. Have a nice evening and nice weekend. Type your attendance, registration number, and then you can leave. I end the meeting. Have a good evening.